Today we're going to be looking at the newly updated Cybex Balios S Lux, which has undergone a variety of mechanical improvements that, in my opinion, have in some ways transformed it into an entirely new stroller, deserving of a full, fresh re-evaluation. And in this video then, I'll be going over the model from top to bottom, examining its advantages and disadvantages in terms of child comfort, ease of use, performance, and mechanics, before ending with a discussion of which uses and environments it will best suit, and also taking price into account in order to judge it against the wider market. And starting off with some stats, the Balios clocks in at 11.7 kilos and folds down to 40 by 48.5 by 65 centimeters, with the seat attached. It can take the standard 22 kilos in the seat, but a much improved 10 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. Looking at child comfort, the Balios' seat is highly adjustable and has both a good upright position as well as a near fully flat recline. Seat dimensions on the model are a little on the small side, but acceptable, with a width of 28 centimeters and a total length of 99 when using the adjustable leg rest, or 108 when using the front frame mounted footrest. The fact that the canopy sits flush against the top of the seat back will limit use of the canopy past around 2.5 to 3 years old or so, but on the other hand, the model's decently long adjustable leg rest provides a nice reclined position up until around this age, which is something that can't be said for all models. As far as other aspects of the seat go, the textiles on the Balios seem durable and feel as though they have more padding than previous versions of the model, and the harness has been updated with the same car seat-like method for tightening the shoulder straps, previously introduced on the current Priam and Mios models. The seat frame is sturdy enough for the most part, but both the mechanisms for adjusting the leg rest and the mechanical elements of the canopy are a bit weaker than I'd like, and the frame is also too loose in how it connects to the chassis in my opinion. As far as sun coverage goes, the combination of the canopy being flush with the seat back and an extending portion zipped into the canopy as well as a sun flap make for decent coverage in both the upright and reclined positions. Moving on to parent comfort, the Balios has a handle that's adjustable between 99 and 109 centimeters and an easily accessible shopping basket that's a bit larger than previous iterations. Folding the model is generally easy, and the stroller can be folded with one hand down to a single standing piece with either the seat forwards or reversed, though I would note that the Balios' handle sits a bit looser right out of the box than with some models, which can make it a bit fiddly at first to symmetrically unlock both sides of the chassis simultaneously until you get used to it. When folded, this new Balios feels a bit heavy, especially versus previous iterations of the model, but the reformed handle on the underside of the seat does at least make for an intuitive place from which to lift and carry the stroller when you need to. As far as driving goes, despite that somewhat loose handle, this new Balios has a much sturdier, more rigid, and more substantial feel than the original, not loose side to side, and with a solid suspension bounce from the redesigned shock-absorbing struts that I can't say I've ever really felt on a Cybex model before. And with a wide wheelbase to boot, the Balios is now not only quite light to maneuver over smoother streets, but can comfortably tackle rougher urban conditions like cobblestones, city parks, and the like, without feeling too rickety as a result. Alright, let's move on to the mechanics of the model, starting out with the handle, the folding system, and the overall structure of the chassis, where the handle, though loose, is still built quite sturdily in terms of both handling the weight of the model, as well as with regards to not developing problems with its internal components. And the central folding locks are quite sturdy as well, and involve solid metal components for the actual locking function. To my eye, these elements of the chassis have actually not been changed much at all from previous versions of the Balios, but both are nonetheless strengthened by what has changed, being most importantly the redesigned rear frame, which is now a single piece, sporting a welded crossbar, as well as rebuilt, much thicker suspension-loaded support struts, all of which provides rigid cross support that was sorely needed on the model, and while the Balios is still arguably a bit weaker than some premium mid-sized reversible seat models out there, the strength of its basic structure is no longer anywhere close to the bottom of the pack, even in comparison to many strollers priced a lot higher. Moving down to the rear frame, I want to start by having a closer look at the suspension that's shifted from just being hinged elements on the rear crossbar to these more substantial struts, which are of course similar to what UPPAbaby uses on their models, though a bit smaller sized and a tad more weakly built, but are still a good shift in design and provide much more noticeable shock absorption when pushing the model than it had before. The rest of the rear frame, other than the welded crossbar, is essentially unchanged from the original Balios, with the standard Cybex brake system that can be a little stiff if you don't lubricate it from time to time, but tends not to develop problems very often. Though I would note that when it does, if the brake pins snap for example, then it can be very hard to fix since the system is difficult to disassemble. Beyond this, the rear wheels sit decently tight in their housings and the tires are made of pretty strong rubber. Looking lastly at the front end, the Balios' wheel size hasn't changed, at around 7 inches, which is still quite sufficient for handling even rougher urban conditions. The model has the same standard suspension built into the wheel forks and the same swivel locks that I've never really seen any problems with. One thing that has changed, however, is the connection of the front wheel forks within their housings, as well as the wheels within the forks, where both points are much tighter now, and I'd note here that this tightness has been achieved without the use of ball bearings inside the housings, meaning that the channels themselves have actually been narrowed and reinforced to better hold the forks, all of which is a change that will better protect the model from developing wobble problems down the line. So, should you get the new Balios then? Yes, provided that you're looking for a reversible seat stroller for primarily urban use and need something that can handle stuff like broken sidewalks, cobblestones, or smoother park trails, and that price is an important factor for you, then it's definitely a model worth considering. Price aside, there are still several models out there that outperform it, but for the current price of around $550, the new Balios is, in my opinion, significantly better than many other similar models that can be had for the same, or even sometimes a higher price, such as the Silver Cross Reef or the Nunamix Next, for example. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, as this sort of support really helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.